Good afternoon. Brad Guinane, CRO at SONAR. Excited today to be joined with Todd Waldron, VP of Carrier Experience at Truckstop.com. And we're going to talk a little bit about why our two companies partnered together for the benefit of carriers and logistics operators. So yeah, maybe to start us off, Todd, if you want to kick off with kind of a little background and what you're up to at Truckstop, and then I'll be happy to do the same. We can kind of walk through what we're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. Brad, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Todd Waldron, Vice President of Carrier Experience here at Truckstop. I've been in the logistics brokerage industry primarily for 17 years. So I spent time at C.H. Robinson, J.B. Hunt. And then the last 5.5 years was CEO of a company called Q Carriers based up here in lovely Minnesota. And that's Brad, where we were just talking about. That's where we first encountered each other many years ago. So great to reconnect with you. Been at Truckstop since early 2024. And so it's just been an incredible journey here, and excited for all the things that we have coming down the pike now with our 30 for 30, a celebration of our 30 years in business, with 30 product offerings. So we're about halfway through that journey, and have been putting out some incredible things. We just launched the second iteration of our mode specific load boards, being the heavy haul load board this week. It's kind of the second iteration after the van load board that we launched in partnership with SONAR, which I'm looking forward to talking about today. But we're really focused on how we listen to the customers, and how we develop faster and quicker on behalf of our customers. And a part of that involves then the partnerships, and knowing that we can't do all things ourselves, that it depends on people like SONAR to develop better, faster tools for the customers that we work with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what's that been like? I know you touched on a little bit, the 30 for 30, you guys are absolutely just cranking out product, and we're hearing all kinds of great stuff in the market, and our mutual customers, I think, are having a great time exploring the new offerings that you guys have.
Yeah.
But what's that been like, with the customers that you do and the team internally getting these things out the door?
It's been great. I mean, I get the pleasure of being able to talk to a lot of carriers, and the feedback we've gained is great. Whether it's things that make them be more efficient. So we like an age authority filter to be able to tell what brokers work with somebody of their authority age, so they can cut through the noise. The private loads was even like a broker facing solution, but it enables deep carriers to be more present on brokers' core carrier networks, and enable them to see and work with brokers they've worked with in the past, and get proactive or pre-visibility to loads before they're even posted to the water load board. So in all things, it's been great to be able to see things like that bring additional security, but then also like efficiency and deeper relationships. Everybody looks at a load board as an anti-relationships tool, but the reality is it's a bridge to building relationships and enables new relationships. But then now we're focused on how we expand those relationships between the parties that we work with. So it's been a crazy ride to see how the product teams pump out and deliver just incredible products for both our carrier and broker customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know before we dive into some of the SONAR specifics and the integration, the adoption is something I want to highlight with the van load board. I think you guys have rightfully been known as, the de facto place to go for heavy haul, over dimension from a load board perspective. But I think you don't get enough credit for the, especially the recent release of the van load board. I mean, there's tens of thousands of loads that are transacting there on a daily basis. Talk to me a little bit about the emphasis there, and how you guys decided to create these different equipment specific load boards.
It's definitely, we've had a strong foundation of van and refrigerated freight, and 30 years ago we were the first internet load board in the industry. So we've always been a leader in this space. And then as we've grown the flatbed heavy haul, like our name kind of became synonymous with that. But yeah, we've certainly had and still continue to have a great foundational base and a lot of van and reefer freight that's moving. One of the limitations that we recognized was that as we expanded our mode offerings, it could be a little bit more complex for users to find the freight that they're looking for, whether that's through filtering and or the information that's being presented to them. And so we've set out on this journey to create more mode specific load boards for some of the top modes. And so like with the van load board, you consolidate or bring down the amount of available loads in there that makes it easier to get to the loads that are relevant to you a lot quicker. So we've included refrigerated in there because of the often overlap in those spaces between that a lot of carriers might cross into other areas depending on the circumstances and the loads. But it allows them to really focus in on what's important. And then we add in the SONAR rate integration that provides a more of a breadth and depth to the data that we're able to show them and allows them to be much more educated in the negotiation process.
Yep. No, absolutely. And I think that's, maybe a good segue to, highlight Sonar and their role in partnering with the Truckstop and the Truckstop van load board specifically. So maybe for the audience that is less familiar with Sonar, Sonar's been around for really since 2016, as a business unit of FreightWaves, and FreightWaves.com. And we split off in early 2024 to be, a singular business unit, outside of the FreightWaves umbrella, where now Sonar's entire focus is as a data and software business. So we've specifically been focused for majority of our time on quote unquote enterprise logistics and supply chain companies. So 75% plus of our customers are domestic and global teams that are looking for multimodal high frequency supply chain data. And that's really where we specialize, in, upstream and downstream supply and demand data and pricing data. Right. And that's really where we meet in this integration, and really us as a business, with a strategic focus where I mentioned we've historically been very focused on, providing enterprise, data solutions. We've really made an emphasis to make some of our, data and our solutions available to the long tail of the market. And specifically, we felt like there was a great opportunity to bring, enterprise level data into the hands of, even the smallest, companies from a carrier or a broker perspective in this solution. And that's what we're really excited about, right? It's not a place that we've specifically played in the transaction, and the uplift has been very positive and exciting. And I think where we believe there's a great opportunity for the companies that are engaging, with this product that we've gone to market on together is, really for two core reasons. This is the only place that you can get pre-price discovery data. And what do I mean by that? Sonar provides, supply and demand market insights from anonymized executed load transactions to help a carrier or a broker understand, what's happening with capacity. Is it becoming easier or harder, to find, to purchase? Is your asset more valuable or less valuable than it was day over day before pricing, shows up? Pricing data is amazing. It's great. There's a lot of places to get it. It's naturally flawed, right? It's a load's been picked up. It's been delivered. It's already happened, right? So it's naturally a lagging indicator. So we believe there's a great opportunity through the Sonar insights that are delivered in the van load board to provide that additional layer of real-time insight of, should I go to this market or not? What is my negotiating power and leverage? And I think that's really key to step one of delivering the value, especially to a carrier, is, $3 a mile can sound great, but where are you ending up? Right. And that's a very important part of the decision process that you should have clarity around. And then, beyond that, you do need rate information and data to make a decision. I think, we've had the benefit of kind of coming, second or third in the market when we think about, companies like Truckstop, Todd, that do provide pricing data, where we've been able to engage with, a lot of the significant logistics players and say, hey, what would be helpful? What would be, the next level of rate visibility that you would want to see? And a core piece of feedback that we heard is there's an opportunity to close the gap on, how real time that data is. And what a key data point and thing that we've been able to do there is go to the point of booking and looking at what is the rate when a load is booked. Not what is the rate when it's picked up, delivered, and invoice. What is the rate when it's booked? And delivering that within 24 hours in this integration. So as users of the van load board are looking at the SONAR rate insights, that's really core and key. Not only are you getting pre-price discovery, supply and demand data of should I go here or there and what's my negotiating leverage, but the most near real-time, up-to-date insight into what the rate should be on that lane. And then, knowing that it's backed by, a really strong core methodology of having at least 5 data contributors with no more than 25% representation. So it's not being overweighted by one company that, moves a lot of freight on that lane. It's a transparent, and clear methodology that's available to the users. And we're really excited about that, Todd, because it's something that we haven't really been delivering to that, long tail of the market. And again, we've seen, initially really positive results in the last 90 days, where we've got hundreds of users already accessing, which is fantastic. So I think we're starting to see the uptake, which is I think what we were both hoping for, to bring a high value, low cost solution to our customers.
Yep. Definitely. As you walk through that SONAR journey, I've been a huge fan of SONAR since the beginning, during my time at JB Hunt, when JB Hunt was an early partner with SONAR. And then when I joined Q Carriers, I brought, you and Kirk in and wanted to talk immediately. How can I incorporate this as a smaller organization, and have been a user since and been a part of some of the customer advisory stuff. But one of the things of the complexity of the data and the amount of data inputs that SONAR takes in is expansive and can be intimidating, right? To be quite frank. But I've seen the developments you guys have done, and the interface that you have has been substantial in allowing a user to navigate that, and makes it so much more user friendly. And then the secondary piece to that is then when the excitement about incorporating this into Truckstop is about getting it closer to the workflow for our carriers and our drivers. And as you mentioned, there's pre-rate data, and then there's post-load, post-shipment data sources from invoicing. Truckstop's kind of lived in the middle, watching the Truckstop rate insights data, is watching broker behavior in the marketplace as it's happening real time. And so we saw an opportunity to say, wait, we can provide additional data sets from a SONAR partnership that opens the door to more data sources, not just Truckstops, provides that pre-look or insight into what's happening before the market even shifts. And so there's some differentiation in the data points that we're providing that together make a really powerful input for carriers as they're negotiating. So as I'm talking to carriers, I'm really highlighting both of these, and particularly from a SONAR perspective, how looking at that and understanding that can give you a leg up in how you're negotiating, and how you can find the best load for you, and start to identify too, what are the best brokers for you to work with? How do they relate to what's happening in the market data? What are they telling you in comparison to what the data is telling you? So you can get an idea of what's happened. Underlying all this, the SONAR rejections index, right? SONAR 1 aggregated and brought in a significant amount of public and other proprietary data sets, but then developed their own proprietary indices that are so relevant to what's happening in the rate. Truckload rejections I've watched near daily for many, many years, as it's often an indicator for what's going to happen with price. it also, for me as a carrier, was an indicator as to what other people might be telling a shipper. Because I sit there, and if I'm getting inundated with above routing guide capacity loads or more loads than it was committed to, and they're telling me that you're the only one rejecting loads, I can very quickly go out and validate that to say that can't be true. It looks like the marketplace is continuing to reject more and more shipments on a daily basis. And so it gives me some more comfort as a people pleaser and a high customer service minded person. It gives me more comfort in being able to have the operational discussions with shipper relationships or broker relationships, because you have a better understanding of where markets are shifting and what might be taking place. And so I just think this, particularly in today's environment where it lives in the van and refrigerated load board, it provides this additional rate data, but then also what's happening with the market data and from a loads and rejection standpoint as well.
Yeah, and I think you just brought up a few things important that I want to touch on. One around product development, mentioning the tender rejection index, which is, something I think that is pretty widely used and referenced now. I think you'll even hear in some, earnings calls of some of the publicly traded orgs that are referencing tender rejection. So more of a widely used data set than it was 8 to 10 years ago, which is great. But I think what I like about this integration is we've still had that problem over the years of, okay, that's helpful, but what do I do with it? So in the integration that we have with Truckstop, what we've been able to do with some of the developments in AI is we've been able to turn those insights into natural language. So when you're looking at a lane and the back end, what we're seeing are volumes increasing, decreasing, or rejections increasing, decreasing. We're telling you what your negotiating power is and what your leverage is. So we've actually simplified, to your point, we're taking in millions of daily data points to produce a single output on a lane, but we've tried to simplify that and bring it into the workflow so that it can be clearly actioned, which, is a big step for us, as as a previous customer a long time ago, where, previously you might have had to just, interpret on your own. And then I think you mentioned another really important thing that speaks to the philosophy of SONAR as a business in this space and as a data provider. One that's, had a partnership with Truckstop and your data and our platform for, over 5 years now is, we really view, you talked about Truckstop data and rate insights alongside of SONAR. These are reference points, right? Yeah. There's really no absolute truth. These are reference points to help you make the best decision for your business, and we truly believe that. So, I don't think there's an absolute right or wrong single source of truth. It's your ability to bring these things together, and that was really the goal of this, right? How can we bring what Truckstop has and what SONAR has, and there might be a tiny bit of overlap on a couple things, but it's largely they're complementary of each other to help make carriers or brokers in this instance, help them make the best decision possible for their business. And that's really the goal. And I think that's really the opportunity in the market now as we've continued to see, more and more companies and, data providers pop up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I think maybe one more thing to add too, Todd, that we maybe glazed over a little bit on the reference, kind of readdressing the reference side. I think that's really important for the carriers that are accessing and looking at this this integrated offering is we're bringing to you not only the paid rates in the market to trucks on a daily basis, kind of that quote unquote spot market or the payment to the truck from a broker, but we're also bringing in this offering what we would describe as contract rates, so that you can actually see what is being paid at an RFP level and see that. So you're really getting, if you think about truckload, you're really getting all three sides of the equation. You're getting the supply and demand to see what's happening pre-price discovery. You're getting real time rate data and insights from both of us, and you're getting insights into seeing what RFPs are and what they're performing at. So really a whole host of data and insights to help craft and make decisions on a daily basis as you navigate these markets.
Absolutely. And you're bringing it together in one screen, right? Rather than having to jump from screen to screen or system to system, now integrated into the workflow of Truckstop. And you see at a lane level, you can see the lane level ticker. As you click into a load, you get specific sonar data on a load level to look at load level specific data, and then can even flip the card to get even more additional market insights on the origin and destination markets. So gives you multiple cuts in your existing workflow in the Truckstop van load board. So really excited about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're super thankful to be able to partner with you guys, Todd, and as we're having viewers review and look at this this back and forth that we're having on this webinar. Where can they go to find on the Truckstop side, where can they go to find this offering on your guys' end?
Yeah, the easiest, quickest way is go to truckstop.com. And so that's one way you can access that. You can access me on LinkedIn, Todd Waldron. Truckstop has a LinkedIn profile, a Facebook profile too, that you can find truckstop.com there as well. But yeah, those would be great places to start, and can get set up with a demo or get set up online on your own as well through a self-service flow. So those are the best next steps places.
Awesome. Yeah. And if for any of those who are curious, Truckstop customers already and are curious about this integration, we can be found or I can be found, Brad Guinane, on LinkedIn. Please reach out DM. We have our SONAR LinkedIn page as well. And then we can be found at www.gosonar.com, where we have our complete data dictionary and the things that I was talking about today, and the methodology behind the data and the insights are all available there. But of course, we're happy to talk through any of these things with interested parties. So that's where to find us, Todd. And we're looking forward to continuing to see this flourish in the market, and appreciate the partnership and you joining today, and look forward to big
Absolutely.
things out of you guys. Continue as we march towards 30 on your guys'
Yes,
side.
absolutely. I echo the same. We're grateful for the SONAR partnership, and appreciate you having me on.